Victor Gensini joins us, professor of meteorology at Northern Illinois University. Thanks for being with us today. You study the changes in where tornadoes happen and a shift from decade to decade about who's seeing them more frequently now. Where were the tornadoes happening most frequently and where are they happening now?
Well, it's really interesting when you run the numbers over the last 40 to 50 years, what you really see is a decrease in the number of tornadoes that are occurring in places like Texas and Oklahoma, and especially on the high plains, and an increase in places further to the east like Louisiana, Mississippi, even portions of eastern Texas.
Is it just the number of tornadoes that's shifting or the intensity as well?
It is total number of tornadoes. It's also tornadoes across all intensity scales. So everything from the EF0, the weak tornadoes, all the way up to the violent tornadoes rated EF4 and EF5 are kind of all experiencing this general these spatial trends.
And what's causing the shift?
That's a great question. We have a lot of attribution research that's happening right now. It's certainly consistent with climate change, sort of a drying out of the southern plains, hotter days, less moisture, less rainfall. And then what ends up happening is the threat for severe weather kind of shifts away from those very dry, arid regions into places like the Mid-South and Midwest. So we think part of it's climate change, but we think there is probably some component of natural variability to it as well.
Clearly, while we may be seeing a shift in frequency to our east, that can still happen here.
Texas and Oklahoma are still number one, and when it comes to number of tornadoes every year, it's not that they don't experience tornadoes anymore. It's just that they're not as frequent as they were in the 1970s or 1980s, right? So it's just a downward trend. It's not that Texas still doesn't get any of these events. And yes, the recent tornado outbreak is another example of that.
Victor Gensini, professor of meteorology at Northern Illinois University. Thanks for joining us today.